Hachette Audio presents How Children Learn, written by John Holt, read by Matthew Kugler. Foreword by Deborah Meyer. When John Holt's first book, How Children Fail, came out, my own children were just starting at a Chicago public school across the street, and I was picking up a few dollars by subbing in Southside elementary schools. Those of us teaching at the time in so-called ghetto schools were taught to fill children's minds, since their families and communities were seen to be bereft of useful learning. The children, it was said, did not know enough or have enough language to express curiosity. Being intensely political, I approached my part-time subbing more as an anthropologist seeing how the other half lived, and also as an anxious mother whose children would be attending such schools. Holt's book came as a shock, a blessed one that more closely corresponded with what I observed in my racially mixed neighborhood and in the backyards where the children played with their neighbors. How Children Fail also opened my eyes to something else, something fascinating, to the ways in which even good schools teaching middle and upper middle class children failed them. I recognized myself, the product of a progressive NYC independent school, in the stories he told about the enlightened classrooms he observed. Holt showed the ways most schools foster bad strategies, raise children's fears, produce learning which is usually fragmentary, distorted, and short-lived, and generally fail to meet the real needs of children. His empathy and insights grabbed my attention and lit a small fire that, as time passed, became a passion for me and for a whole generation of young teachers, not only to change the world, but also to get to the bottom of how we humans learn. As if to feed the yearnings of our generation, Holt soon came out with a book to answer that question. His goal for How Children Learn, he said, described children, and in a few cases adults, using their minds well, learning boldly and effectively. Children have a style of learning that fits their condition and which they use naturally and well, until we train them out of it. I began to watch my own children in new ways, catching them in the act of learning all sorts of complex things, from learning to swim, to learning to read, and to making sense of the hierarchy on our block of row houses. Putting John's ideas into practice absorbed the next half-century of my life. I always returned to his work to remind me of what we all shared, the fears that make learning harder and limit the intelligence of almost all of us. The lucid writing and stories that
Sample complete. Ready to continue?